What's up, and welcome to 5280 Film Room.
We're a Colorado sports podcast by fans for fans.
Please subscribe, rate, and review, and also follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
You can also email us your input, questions, and ideas at 5280filmroom@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the first ever Colorado Avalanche 5280 Film Room podcast. I'm Alyssa.
And I'm Jordan.
And if you have tuned in to any of our Broncos or Rockies podcasts, you probably noticed Gideon and Miles are missing. This is a busy time of year for Colorado sports.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With the Broncos, the Nuggets, and the Avs going on right now. So we're going to split the Nuggets and the Avs podcast. We might do a joint podcast with Gideon and Miles at some point with the Nuggets and the Avs, but they're going to cover the Nuggets primarily, and we're going to cover the Avs.
And then all four of us will continue to cover the Broncos week to week.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that goes. As always, if you have any feedback or insight or ideas, we would love to hear from you. In the intro is all the information on how to get a hold of us. But as we jump into this Colorado Avalanche podcast, I want to start by apologizing because the season started about a month ago, and we are just now making the first podcast. It's been a crazy month. We got a dog. It's been kind of exciting stuff going on. And it dawned on us that we are really behind. So we are going to jump in. We are excited to cover the Avalanche. And today we're really going to look over the past week, as well as the standings overall.
Yeah, and it's been an exciting season so far. I mean, the Avs are tied for first place with the most points in the entire NHL right now at 16 with Toronto and Nashville. And, I mean, they're 2 years removed from being a 48-point team for the entire season.
Horrible for all of you that also went and suffered through those live games. Mad props. That was a rough year. Last year took a definite turn.
Oh, yeah. They made the playoffs as an 8th seed, which when you're a number 8 seed, there's not a lot of expectations for you in the playoffs, but they went to, I think it was 6 games against Nashville. Is that right? In the playoffs?
I don't know.
Okay.
That sounds correct.
I think it was 6 games, and it was an exciting series. And, Mikko and McKinnon, they really had a breakout year last year. And so far, those two guys have just stepped up. I mean, Mikko is leading the league in points. McKinnon's tied for second in points. So that top line, they've been killing it so far this year. And, I mean, the Avs, they've exceeded my expectations so far this year. It's been nice to see.
I just can't believe we're already nearly a month into the season. It flies by, and they play very frequently. Not quite as frequently as you'd experience with baseball or basketball. But there's still a lot of games going on. And in this week alone, there were 4 games.
Yeah.
On Monday, they played the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yep, which they're a legit team, the Flyers.
And beat them 4-1.
Yep.
So it was a solid victory. A couple days later, on Wednesday, they played the Lightning.
And that was such a good game. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it was a 1-0 loss, but it was just 2 insanely good goalies just duking it out. The Avs had plenty of opportunities to win that game, but a lot of people think the Lightning are the best team in the NHL right now, and I mean, with their goalie, I can totally see that.
Is that their strongest suit, is goaltending for the Lightning?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, the fact that the Avs lost 1-0, it's they were so close, but still, they were in the game the entire game against possibly the best team in the NHL. So that
nice.
was
I didn't realize the Lightning were that good.
Yeah.
To be completely transparent, I've been an Avs fan for a long time, but I can't claim to know nearly as much about the Colorado Avalanche and the NHL as a whole as I do about the MLB and the NFL. So I'm really looking forward to producing this podcast, but also learning a lot throughout the process.
Yeah, for
Hockey
sure.
is a fascinating sport. And I feel like there's a lot of nuance to it. There's a lot of dimensions to pay attention to and have on your radar. And it's good to know the Lightning are a fierce competitor.
Oh yeah. They've been very impressive this year. Well, like for me, like I've been a pretty big Avs fan my entire life, but it's like it goes like baseball, football, and then hockey. So like I'm still like don't judge us for not knowing as much about hockey as a lot of you might know.
And honestly, we would seriously love to hear from you if there's feedback and criticism and ideas and thoughts that you want to share. Totally reach out. We would appreciate that for sure.
Definitely. But yeah, that was one of those losses that like it hurt because they were so close. But I mean, it's a really good opponent that they lost to.
Well, and then they turned around and the next day on Thursday of this week had a huge event that was like a meet and greet dinner with all of the season ticket holders. And that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, that was really cool.
All the players show up and have this event and meet and mingle with and, you know, have social time with season ticket holders.
Well, and like I want to ask you, like, do you think it was a coincidence or that it was planned, that it was the night before we played Matt Duchene? Like, do you think maybe they were trying to avoid the whole drama of the team getting together with Matt Duchene?
Well, no, because they got together anyway.
Well,
I mean, not the team, but like
Gabe
his two
did.
Closest friends did.
Gabe Landeskog did, and then
I would say it was probably a coincidence. I mean, it would make sense to do a big kind of members only because it's season ticket holders. Like that type of event early in the season just makes sense from a planning and events and marketing standpoint.
It does. It just seems weird that it was that night. Could have been like any other night.
Except like, it kind of can't. Like when you're like working alongside so many different organizations, if you look at the Cronkies as a whole, there's probably a lot. I personally, like, I work in scheduling for a much smaller company, and navigating those schedules and getting everything to fit and coincide and work for the higher ups in itself is the nightmare.
Right.
I think it was probably just part of the plan.
Yeah. And like as a fan, I think there's a lot more drama with Matt Duchene from the fans' perspective than there is from the team's perspective.
I think that's the case most of the time with professional athletes.
Yeah.
They understand alongside their colleagues that this is a business. They have to do what they need to do to succeed, to, you know, whatever that is for them. And I know Matt Duchene very much felt like he needed to go elsewhere to be a playoff contender. That did not pan out for him. No. Karma was a little against him in that respect. But I don't think any of his former teammates and friends hold that against him.
Like, not the teammates. Like they didn't schedule the event. Like, I'm talking, like, as the organization. Like, I just thought it was a weird coincidence.
Like the front office?
Yeah. That, like, there was a team event that everybody had to go to on the night that Matt Duchene would be coming back to town. Like, I'm sure a lot more players would have gone out to dinner with Matt Duchene if they didn't have that team event. So it's like, I wonder if there is bad blood between, like, the team and Duchene.
I don't know.
Because I know that Duchene requested a trade about a year before he was actually traded.
Right.
Yeah. Which I think he handled it the right way, and I think the Avs handled it the right way. Like, he asked to be traded. So then
why would there be bad blood is my question.
That's what I don't know. Like, I might just be thinking a little bit too much into it, but I just thought it was weird that there was a team event on the night that Matt Duchene would probably be hanging out with a lot of his ex-teammates.
If there is bad blood, I don't think there is on Duchene's side, just based on the tweet he sent out after the game. So to kind of transition to that, on Friday, we played the Ottawa Senators. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time Matt Duchene had been back at the Pepsi Center since being traded and no longer being an Av.
Yeah.
And the game started off rough for us. That first period was really, really bumpy.
I think it was 2-0 at the end of the first. Ottawa was up 2-0, and then I think it was like 3-1. And then I think it was 3-1, 3-2 going into the third, and then the Avs won 6-3.
Just went off in the third. I mean, the top line just absolutely went completely rogue and just lit it up.
When Duchene got 2 goals in that game, I figured he would have a really good game. I'm just glad, I'm glad that he had a good game and the Avs won. Like, if he had a really good game and the Avs lost, then I might be a little bit better.
Been so happy.
Exactly. It's like, I don't know how you all feel about Matt Duchene, but, like, he was a good Av. Like, we had a lot of good memories with him. He was on some really bad teams, so it's not like he had any, like, spectacular, plays in the playoffs or anything. But
well, and before he became an Av, didn't he have a bit of a history of just being a fan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a lifelong Avalanche fan, which is pretty amazing. When he was the 3rd pick in the draft in,
15?
No, I think it was like 2010. Somewhere around there. Yeah. A while back.
Gotta look it up.
But there's like a video of him, like when he wasn't taken 1st or 2nd overall, like he did a fist pump. Because, like, he knew he was going to be an Avalanche. And it's, like, it's a pretty cool video. Like, he's just an Avs fan. And it's just sad that it ended the way it did. That there might be bad blood and that a lot of fans don't like him. Which, I mean, I can understand. Just because he wanted to get out of Colorado. But the team was really bad. So it's like, I don't really blame him for wanting to get out.
And he definitely seemed like he had a very emotional homecoming, not only being that he was a fan of the Colorado Avalanche and then played for the Colorado Avalanche, but his wife, from what I understand, is a Colorado native from Parker. Mm-hmm. So coming back to play at the Pepsi Center also involves coming back and seeing a bunch of family. And they just announced, I think, a little over a week ago, via some pretty adorable skeleton Halloween costumes, that they're expecting their first child. So, like, emotions had to be running so high for him. From a professional standpoint, but then also from a personal standpoint. And I think that kind of translates to me, like, because he was so emotional from the professional side, it's probably impacted because he has so much going on in his personal life right now. But his tweet after the game said, "A big thank you to the Avalanche organization and Avs fans for the tribute tonight. It was one of the most emotional moments of my life. It meant the absolute world to me. Once an Av, always an Av."
That's pretty amazing.
That's, like, pretty sappy and adorable, and he clearly felt a lot coming back here. I would be willing to bet he feels some regret, especially now that the Avs are clicking.
Yeah.
Like you said, he played on some bad teams, thought he needed to go away to find success, and then it was pretty quickly after he left that the puzzle pieces kind of clicked into place and the Avs started finding success.
Right. When I feel like if he, so Matt Duchene, he's a really good player. He's not a great player. Like, he's not Nathan MacKinnon. We wanted him to be Nathan MacKinnon, but I think Matt Duchene, he has to be like the 2nd best player or the 3rd best player on a team to really succeed. So I think if he were to come back to the Avs now, like, I know this is unrealistic, but I think he would fit in so well because he wouldn't be the guy that everybody's relying on. Like, I think there was so much pressure on him. Yeah. And I think Patrick, just in my opinion, just based on watching the Avs and, just all the drama that comes with sports, like, I think that Patrick Waugh didn't like Matt Duchene, like, not personally, but, like, as a player, and I think that's kind of where the downfall started for Matt Duchene and the Avalanche. I think Patrick Waugh wanted to get rid of Duchene, and so that just started the whole just drama with him and the Avalanche. And it's like, I mean, I don't blame Patrick Waugh for not liking him as a player because he was never the superstar that he was supposed to be.
Right.
But if your head coach doesn't like you, then you're not going to be happy. So it was just a weird situation for the Avalanche, in my opinion. Like, when it got ugly. And it just sucks that a lot of fans hate him now.
And it sounds like I wasn't able to find any video footage of this tribute. I know it wasn't a video. Like, I think it was just a moment acknowledging who he is, what he brought to the organization.
Yeah, it was just like a 60-second video of like his highlights.
Oh, it was a video?
Yeah. But I didn't watch it.
From what I understand, the fan reaction was pretty positive.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Like, there weren't a lot of boos, a lot of cheers. And which I think is well deserved. It's kind of like Troy Tulowitzki, where it's like,
right.
I was happy to see him go because it just wasn't the right fit, but I can appreciate what he did for the Avalanche,
for the Rockies. Tulowitzki.
Well, yeah,
oh yes,
but Duchene,
sorry.
what
So
he did
comparatively,
for the Avalanche.
yeah, that is a good comparison because Tulo went out with such animosity.
Yeah.
But there's so many good memories of Tulo to look back on as a Rockies fan.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many, and I think it's the same with Duchene. Like, it ended in a bit of a bitter breakup, but you gotta look at the good times and appreciate what he brought to the team in those moments and those memories.
Well, they were both, like, really good players on really bad teams. And
Which, you're gonna get frustrated.
Oh, yeah.
How
the
you
fans
handle it,
and the players are going to get frustrated.
How you handle it is definitely up for debate, and you're going to be scrutinized. Really, no matter how you handle it, someone's going to have an opinion for or against you.
Right.
But I'm glad that he felt welcome back and that it was a good moment for him because he's at this like kind of crucial juncture in his life as a person.
For sure.
I think it was a good night for him. And an especially good night because our top line came in and just swept the floor with them in the third period, and we walked away with a pretty great win.
I mean, Mikko, Landy, and McKinnon, like, it's probably the best top line in the NHL. Like, Mikko was first in points, McKinnon is second, and Gabe is tied for fifth in points in the entire NHL.
If they can keep this up, stay on this trajectory, and our defense and goaltending can...
Well, and Varley is first in the NHL
solid.
in save percentage. Like, so far, arguably, he might be the best goaltender so far in the NHL this year.
So, being that I'm not quite as well-versed in hockey as other sports I'm a fan of, what determining factors go into who plays goalie any given night?
So when you have somebody like as Avs fans, like, let's just say Patrick Waugh. When you have somebody like that, you want him to play 70 games.
As much as possible.
And then his backup will play the rest of the 12 games.
Okay.
It's where, like, whenever he needs rest. But, we're in a situation now where we have Varley, and we traded for Grubauer in the draft. And Grubauer, he's a guy that he has really high expectations. And he's been good this year. Like, he's 18th in save percentage, so about, average for starting goalies. Mm-hmm. Well, and the way the Avs are approaching it is Varley has started 6 games, Grubauer has started 4 games. So they're kind of just like splitting time.
Yeah, and Grubauer just doesn't seem quite strong enough to me to be splitting time that equitably.
He's been good. Like, the Avs defense, like, the top 4 defensemen top 3, just because you got Barry, who's paired with Ian Cole, and Ian Cole is okay. And then you got Eric Johnson, and then Gerard as the top line, which those two guys pair out really well. But, like, the Avs' defensive depth just isn't really that good. And I feel like Grubauer has kind of suffered some of that. Like, the defense should be there. Like, the goals that are being scored against him is because the defense wasn't there for him.
Okay.
So I feel like Grubauer, he's been fine. Varley has been amazing.
And hopefully he grows. He progresses week to week.
And he's still a young goalie.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's the future of the Avs as far as goaltending.
Okay.
Because I think Varley's like 30, somewhere around there. And Grubauer's like 24.
Okay.
And I think having Grubauer there has been the best thing for Varley. Because it's like, oh crap. I got somebody behind me. They traded
Right,
for this
and
guy.
it's good. It's good to be pushed and to feel that sense of competition, that you have to keep on your toes.
Yeah.
And keep progressing forward.
Like, Varley's been amazing. Grubauer has been really good, in my opinion.
Okay.
And in hockey, goaltending is everything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it makes or breaks you.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a big factor. It's so much pressure on one individual. I can't even begin to imagine what that feels like. So we had a great victory on Friday against Ottawa, and then turned around immediately and played Minnesota on Saturday in Minnesota, and put up a really solid effort. Obviously, they had to be tired going back to back. Unfortunately, lost that one 3-2. And I was reading that the Avalanche are going to skate 11 consecutive day outings this season. So this was the first of those consecutive day games.
Okay.
That's got to be tough. It was the same as last season.
Well, the Wilds, I just
are-
hate losing to the Wilds.
I know. Like, them in particular, we were at a Halloween party last night at, our favorite place ever, Jackson's All-American Sports Bar and Grill over in Greenwood Village, and we're having a big Halloween party there, have the game on, and I keep glancing up, and I'm like, man, not the Wild. I just hate losing to the Wild.
Oh, yeah.
And it was I feel like they put on a good game.
Oh, yeah. It was a really good game, for sure. Well, in the Wild, they're just a team that, I just keep waiting for them to just go away. Because they're an old, just veteran team. And I'm just waiting for that year for them just to, fall off the map. But every year, they just play the Avs so well.
It's funny. My whole family is from Minnesota originally. And when it comes to football, I am also a Vikings fan. I will cheer for the Vikings. But when it comes to hockey, I am, horribly opposed to the Wild.
Right.
And that's where the rivalry in the family is. We're Broncos fans who support the Vikings. They're Vikings fans who support the Broncos. But when it comes to hockey, it is a full-blown rivalry between my family that lives in Colorado now and my family that stayed in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, the Red Wings are the classic rivalry for the Avalanche, but since the Red Wings went to the Eastern Conference, it's just, we don't play them really anymore.
I feel like the Wild have filled that
So now
role.
I think it is, the biggest rival for the Avs is probably the Wild. The Predators might become that next rivalry, but right now I think it is the Wild.
And after those two back-to-back games, they now have a bit of a break, which is good. They won't play again until Thursday. But today, Sunday, October 28th, marks the 1-year anniversary of Landeskog, McKinnon, and Rantanen being put together on a line.
That's awesome.
So this is the 1-year anniversary. The first time they played together as the top line was October 28th, 2017. And that game they combined for 7 points.
Oh my gosh.
And over the course of this year, they have 112 goals scored by the three forwards in 84 games.
Whoa, so over the last year, they've done
112
okay.
goals.
That's a cool stat.
In the course of this past year.
Oh my gosh.
They're a pretty special unit.
Well, Landeskog is the captain, and he's probably the worst hockey player of the three. And he's still a really good hockey player. Yeah.
I'm excited to learn more about exactly what to watch for to make those determinations.
Landy, he's grown into a leader. It took him a while, I think, but he is the leader of the team.
He was a baby when he joined the Avs, right? Wasn't he 18?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When he was the captain at 19. So it's
that's a lot of pressure.
Oh yeah. Well, and he's a
you
really
can't
good
have a
hockey
beer,
player.
but lead this team to victory
Right.
and go.
Well, he's a really good hockey player, but the fact that he's probably the worst of the three, that just says a lot about the other two.
Right. Well, and McKinnon has 47 goals over this past calendar year, and is tied for the most in the league with Ovechkin.
That's crazy.
So this calendar year, from October 28th, 2017 to October 28th, 2018, that's the year we're talking about. So 112 goals scored by those three forwards over those 84 games, and 47 goals were McKinnon's.
Wow, that's crazy. That dude is a beast. Although,
we're lucky to have him.
Yeah. Although I think I'm going to make a bold prediction
Oh.
right now.
Uh-oh.
If you
You're
listen to
going
our
rogue on
Broncos
me.
podcast, we do this every episode.
We do. We love some bold predictions.
I'm going to say Miko is going to outscore Nathan McKinnon and finish in the top 2 for MVP
Like
voting.
season long?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he'll get more points than McKinnon, and he'll either win the MVP or he'll finish in second place.
I am not prepared to make a bold prediction. I'll try to come back with one next week. That's a good one, though.
Okay.
Well, when we look at the overall standings, we're second in the Central Division behind the Predators. We both
We're
have
tied with
16
them,
points. We've played one more game than they have.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
that's true.
technically, yes, we're tied. We each have 16 points. But we've played 12 games, have 7 wins, 3 losses, and 2 overtime losses. They have played 11 games, have 8 wins, and 3 losses.
Okay.
So that, I feel like, is going to be a really fun one
This
to watch.
division
All
is
season
gonna be
long, it's
hard.
going to be us and the Predators. The whole division is
Well,
pretty
like,
intimidating.
coming into the season, I thought the Jets were going to win the division, kind of run away with the division, because I think they have the most talent, but so far it's been the Preds and the Avs that have just been killing it. Well, the Avalanche, like, I hope they can continue on this path, because their front line, or their top line, is amazing. They're fantastic. And the goaltending has been unbelievable so far. It's just the secondary scoring has been the issue. It was I think it was the Senators game 2 nights ago that we finally got a goal by a defenseman, and that was Gerard.
Yes, he's going to be fun to watch throughout
yeah.
the season, too. Was that our first goal of this season, scored by a defenseman?
Yeah. It took 11 games to get that goal. 10 or
Well,
11.
you know what, bud? It took us 12 games to make a podcast, so
Right?
don't worry.
Yeah.
Off to a slow start, but we're going to pick up the tempo here.
It's exciting because if the guys, like the top line and the goaltending, can just do what they're doing, I think the rest of the guys will catch up. So I would not be surprised if the
Well,
Avs
and
won
just
the
ride
division.
off that momentum.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, it's infectious.
Mhm.
Success is infectious. You see it and you want it.
Yeah.
You want it for yourself. You see your teammates going off. You want to contribute. You want to say, I can do that too.
Yeah. And it's fun to win. And they're
No
winning
doubt
so
about
far.
it.
And they're winning so far. It's been exciting.
As I said earlier, they've got a couple days off, but later this week they will play the Flames on Thursday and then the Canucks on Friday. So 2 games from the Pacific Division back to back. The Flames currently have 11 points and the Canucks have 12 points.
Yeah, Calgary, like, they're not that good. The Canucks, I don't really know a lot about them. But, I mean, based on their points, they're not that good either. But the Flames, Avs should beat the Flames. The Canucks, I don't really know.
Well, and this is kind of a quiet week. I was looking ahead because we're planning on doing an Avs podcast once a week. And over this week, we had 4 games to cover, whereas next week it'll just be 2. The following week, I think, will be 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that I find fascinating about the way the NHL season is structured, is it's not consistent. Like, if I were a player, that would mess with me. Like, this week, you have to
Like
play
having,
4
like,
games.
yeah.
Next week, only 2. The following week, 3. And it's not consistent. It's not routine. The schedule varies so much week to week and month to month.
It is weird. It's like it feels like, so the NBA, they play the same amount of games as the NHL, 82 games. But it seems like it's like consistently every other night that they play a game. And the NHL is weird like that. Like, sometimes you'll have 3 nights where you have to play a game.
Right. 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
And it's, yeah,
And then you'll
it
have
is
like
weird.
6 days off.
Right. It's like, what do you do during that, like,
I mean,
4-day
you
break?
really probably just have to completely unplug your brain and say, like, I can only view my job day to day.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even look a half a day ahead. Like, I have to strictly focus on these 24 hours. And then once I finish those up and put the period at the end of the sentence for that day, then I can look at the next day.
Right.
Whether it's a rest or a game or a practice.
Yeah, like it. I just
That
like
would
mentally
drain
it just
me.
seems
That would drain me so quickly.
It just
The
seems
lack
weird.
of routine.
Oh yeah, because like doing 3 nights in a row and then having 4 days off. It's like, well, what do I do now? So yeah, their next game was it Thursday?
Thursday.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a long time. Is that Calgary?
The Flames.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be a win.
Yep.
Should
So
get at least 1 point.
hopefully by the time we are recording our next Colorado Avalanche podcast, we have 2 more wins in the record books from that Thursday and Friday coming up later this week. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on this first Avs podcast?
Just that like they've been exceeding my expectations so far this year. Like last year, they were amazing at home, and so far they've been amazing at home, but they've also been amazing on the road.
And that's such a huge factor.
Like if they can just continue what they're doing, and then some of the other guys that haven't really stepped up yet, like Tyson Barrie, or Tyson Jost, the 2 Tysons, I'm calling it right now, apparently. Like, I think if we can just keep doing what we're doing, like, everybody else is going to catch up on the team. And this team could be unstoppable throughout the season. Because they're a young, fast team, and they're just, I'm excited for what the season is going to eventually become.
Here's hoping you're right, that it's only up from here.
That's
Progress
right.
and progression, week in and week out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate it so much. We will catch you later. Have a great week. Bye.